Okay, I want to talk about the Apollo moon landings, late 60s, early 70s, and why I know we went to the moon. A lot of people say we didn't, but well, the first, the Soviets, the Russians were, back in those times. I was a kid back in those days. I remember it, but the Russians were, well, they had Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin, and you know, uh, first satellite, first man in space, and they wanted to be the moon, but we Americans beat them to the moon. But let me talk about something called radio direction finding. You can take two directional antennas from different points on Earth. Get an angle. You can figure bearing. You can tell where a signal's coming from. Now the Russians knew the frequencies that NASA was using, and I'm sure they tapped in and listened to them, and they could triangulate. They could tell by radio direction finding a signal where it was coming from. Now, if it had been faked, the Russians would have been all over it. The Russians would have made a big deal about it if it had been faked. And remember one of the later Apollo missions. Don't remember which one, but the Apollo 11, the camera worked fine. But one of the later ones, when the astronauts had accidentally pointed the camera toward the sun, and it burned out the part of the camera, where they didn't have a picture to it, and they can continue with the audio, but there was just no video signal. They only take one camera to the moon, because of weight constraints and stuff. But now, if that had been faked, they wouldn't have. That wouldn't have happened. They could have. If that had been faked on the movie set, they'd have just had another camera there if it had got damaged. But now one guy had said that the dust had kicked up. From one of the later flights, you had a moon buggy, and one guy said, "Well, the dust didn't behave right. It's a vacuum on the moon." He said but I don't know. That's kind of strange to me. But we went to the moon. There's proof of it, and supposedly some of the big telescopes here on Earth have actually, when they turn their telescope toward the moon, they actually see pieces. I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that you can actually see part of the moon lander. We call it a LEM, lunar excursion module, but they actually see pieces of the limb. Now, I guess they've seen that the actual tracks from one of the moon buggies, but I don't know that for a fact, but I've heard that. Okay, we went to the moon. Bye bye.